Hi, you guys. I got YouTube people going. Let me get, here we go. Here I am getting my headphones on. And we've got Instagram now going now. Okay, great. I came in at the last second. I had it all set up, but I kind of wasn't really prepared. I had to go put makeup on and all that stuff. So, and you can see, I want to show the pretty part of my backyard, not the ugly house. I want to show the tree in the background. Okay, I think we're all set now. Hi, everyone. Hi, Schizosaurus Rex and Jules Julie and Rachel Horner. I see a bunch of people over. Rena Misty and Brendan Rolls. Hi, guys. Alvin. Good, I see everybody here. Okay, so go ahead and type in your questions. I've got some kind of fun news about next week. We'll see what happens next week. Next week, I'm going to a pirate festival in Long Beach, down in Long Beach, California. And so I'm going in for sure on Saturday. I might be going on Sunday. And if I go on Sunday, then I'll do my session with you dressed like a pirate. And if I have to do it from down there, I might only be able to do it on Instagram. I don't know if I'll have internet connection to do it on YouTube, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I won't even go to the pirate festival on Sunday. I might be all pirated out on Saturday and not wanting to do it on Sunday. Who knows? Going to play it by ear. But even if I don't do it, if I don't go to the pirate, I'll wear the pirate hat for you guys. All right. So go ahead and get your questions in. And I see a question over on YouTube and I see one on Instagram. Let's go to Instagram first. Leeds Hill has a question. Hi, Pisces Hippie. I see you there. Hi, Madam Pamita. I'm very interested in hoodoo, but put off by the Bible aspect of it. Any tips for overcoming this, or is there a way of getting around the Christian aspect of it? Love your videos. Okay. So traditional hoodoo is Christian magic. There's no doubt about that. It's definitely got a biblical aspect to it, working with the Bible, working with the Psalms. However, not all hoodoo practitioners are Christian. It's a practice. And so if you're going to be super traditional, and not adapting it in any way, then that's the way to go, is to go to that Christian aspect. But if you are seeing techniques that you like in hoodoo and that you want to try for yourself, there's nothing to say that you can't do those. So for example, making a mojo bag. Now, some people will say, I think there are a lot of opinions out there on working with hoodoo. There's some people that say, perhaps with some, I think with some, there's a good reason for it. There's some people say this is an African-American tradition and that should only be practiced by African-American practitioners. I can see a justification for that because people of color have had all kinds of cultural appropriation and things taken away from them and co-opted by the social structures that are in power and being shut out of things. So I can see where people might come to that sort of conclusion or have that sort of opinion. And there's also people that will say hoodoo is a Christian tradition and you have to practice it traditionally. However, I think it's important that when we're working with hoodoo type traditions that we acknowledge that they are African-American and that's where they came from. It's like acknowledging that blues music is originally Black music. You just acknowledge it and recognize that, and don't, diminish that aspect of it. I think you want to also concentrate on the fact that this comes from a Christian tradition, but that doesn't mean that you can't utilize the techniques in your own tradition. And there are plenty of hoodoo practitioners that practice in traditions other than Christian traditions. For example, there are people that work in Santeria that use hoodoo practices, or people that work in the African diaspora religions, that work with hoodoo traditions that have nothing to do with Christianity, pre-Christianity. There are people that work, with gods and goddesses and work with hoodoo traditions. So in my opinion, you aren't limited to working Christian work only, but acknowledging that that's where it came from, and that's the traditional method of working and doing hoodoo practice. It doesn't mean that that's not a jumping off point for you to do some of those practices within your own spiritual beliefs. The reason I am not a Christian and I'm a spiritualist, and so I work with spirit guides, and I connect to all faiths. I connect to all, I see all religions as having truth in them. And so I practice hoodoo practices, but I would not be considered a person who is a super traditional hoodoo worker because I'm not a Christian. So your mileage may vary. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of opinions about this that you'll hear from lots of people and so on. So, and I think the opinions are valid. So good question, and one that is probably a little bigger in scope than our session here today, but something that's worth discussing and validating and honoring and understanding and honoring the roots of the tradition that you're working with, I think are really important, and not sort of skipping over those or pretending those don't exist. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, all right, let's go over to YouTube and see what we've got. I knew we have one from Christine Conjure. How do I work with Saint Expedite? So do I have to offer something to Saint Expedite in exchange for the services? Okay, this is great. So Saint Expedite is a saint. Now, working with saints is an interesting, going back to Leeds Hill's question, working with saints is a Catholic tradition, and hoodoo is not Catholic. So when we start working with saints, we're already venturing outside of the traditional hoodoo traditions. We're also already going out of it because Catholicism doesn't really, there was no Catholic hoodoo, despite what you may hear or otherwise. So working with saints, you're already venturing out and incorporating other things. So just a little tie in there to that last question. Working with Saint Expedite. So Saint Expedite is a saint who is known for, he was in Roman times, and if you see pictures, images of him, he usually has a little crow, and the crow is saying something which I can't remember quite what it is. I'd have to look at the image to see, but basically what he's saying is don't wait till tomorrow, do it today, right? What the essence of that is to say, traditionally for Saint Expedite, it's like, don't make your conversion late, because he was during the times when Christianity was new. And so there was this conversion that was happening, lots of people converting to Christianity, or people were starting to convert. And the message that he said was, don't wait to convert, do it today, because tomorrow you might not be here and you'll have missed your opportunity. So when we work with Saint Expedite, when we're asking Saint Expedite for assistance, we're asking for assistance in moving something faster. We want something to expedite something. Those two are related, to Expedite and Saint Expedite. You want something to happen fast. You want something to move faster. You don't want to wait anymore. It's like it's the perfect saint for Aries. Let me just say that. Aries is like, I don't want to wait for something. So anyway, so Saint Expedite, when we work with Saint Expedite, when you set your intention, this is a very traditional sort of Catholic working, you petition a saint for assistance and help in some aspect, right? So let's say, for example, you need rent money and you need your rent money right now and you can't wait, you need it right now. So you petition Saint Expedite, help me find my rent money, help me get my rent money so that I'm able to pay my bills, whatever. And when you get that money coming in to pay your rent, then you need to make an offering of appreciation and gratitude to Saint Expedite. And what that traditionally is pound cake. So you would set up a little altar with a picture of Saint Expedite. You might have a candle, red candle or a white candle set up for him. And then you would leave a piece of pound cake as a thank you for him helping you get your rent money on time, making things happen faster, and so on. So anytime you need to have something sped up, if you like working with saints, you like working with spirit guides, you can work with Saint Expedite to help speed things up. And then when you get your result, give him that piece of pound cake as a thank you. It's a very sweet kind of exchange that happens. And I love doing spirit work and spirit altars and things like that. So that's something very nice to see. All right, going back to Instagram. Hi, David Hinnebush. That's my friend from when I was 20 years old. Hi. Um, Pisces Hippie saying hi. WD Explorer. Hi. Oh, this is Jules. Julie brought up a great question. I'm so glad you brought this up. What can be done to help the situation at the border? Candles, herbs, oils, etc. I think this is really important. Not only should your work be about let's say this, not only can your work be about your own personal issues, they can be about working with the wider world and creating change in the world, a positive change in the world. So with our situation at the border, I was asking this question of my guides and who came forward, but of course, Black Hawk came forward. So if you know a little bit about Black Hawk, I just did a blog post about Black Hawk that's a repeat of an old blog post I had on my old site. So if you saw it over there, it's the same one. But Black Hawk is a very old spiritualist's spirit guide. So the story of Black Hawk is that there was Mother Leafy Anderson, who is an African-American woman who had a spiritualist church, and she got the connection to Black Hawk. Black Hawk was a Native American, obviously, of the Sauk tribe and Fox tribe. And he was a war leader. And he was the one that sort of was fighting against the European incursion that was taking away the lands of the native peoples and so on, and was successful a lot of his battles in preserving their lands. He's the first Native American to write a first-person autobiography, so it's a great resource to look at his autobiography, although, you know, there's probably some kind of editing that went on with it. It has a primary source information about, it's like some of the earliest primary source information we have in English about Native Americans and the Native American experience. So it's he's really important. So when his sort of wheelhouse and working is, of course, people of Native American descent, he's going to be helpful because that's his cause. Of course, that's where his heart is. But when we look at systemic injustice, situations with systemic injustice, like this oppressive government situation, which is taking people and separating families and punishing people and making people, dehumanizing people and so on and so forth, that we see that's happening, we can petition him for those situations. The reason that's good, he's helpful with that, because it's like very much like the Europeans. I mean, gosh, there's so many correlations between this and like the Trail of Tears, of like pushing people out, dehumanizing people, people dying in these situations and so on. So when we want, you know, he came forward very much when this was happening and saying that he is willing to help. So when we work with a spirit guide, there's a couple ways that you can work. Number one, there's a Black Hawk candle that I make that is an image of a Native American man's head. It's not Black Hawk because the headdress is not the kind of Sauk headdress, but it's representative of him. And in traditional African American spiritualism, they often just show a Native American with that sort of headdress that you see, you know, like on the Indian head penny and so on. So this candle is like a representation of working with Black Hawk, and it's a way of honoring him and having an image of him and working with a candle to help make an alliance with him to create some change. When you work with Black Hawk for this situation, I would recommend, you know, there's a lot of ways you can approach it. We want to see breakthrough, and we want to see this dismantling of this unjust situation. So you could, for example, work with an orange candle for breaking through that, what seems like stuck energy of this cycle of abusive government. And that could be very helpful. You could put a blue Black Hawk candle for calming the rhetoric and calming this anger and all this vitriol that's being focused on immigrants. We could do white Black Hawk candle for cleansing the situation, clearing it out, making breaks and stopping that destruction of separation of the families and so on. So you can almost we can use brown for working legally to change the laws and to change things. There's a lot of ways you can approach it and with a lot of different colors. But typically when we work with Black Hawk, I have Black Hawk spell kits so that you can buy the kit. It has the oil, it has the tobacco that you would work with him, and it has directions on how to work that candle. I also have a video up on how to work with a Black Hawk candle. But you can get the candle on your own. You could get just a plain candle. I mean, like when I make these suggestions, it's always like, that's one way of working it. And there's something very powerful with working with an image candle, a candle that has a figure or something that has some kind of extra added energy toward what it is that you're wanting. But you don't, never, ever do I say like, you must work with this candle, or you must work, this way. You can work with a plain red candle or plain blue candle or plain white candle, whatever it is that you're wanting, that corresponds to your spell work. So just please be aware of that. So, but I'm going to tell you, working with this candle is a powerful thing because you're really connecting up to him. So you can watch the video if you go to parlorofwonders.com and you go to instruction. You'll see the how-to videos. You can see the Black Hawk video. You can see how to work with that. But he's one that really is so powerful and so good for working with situations with systemic injustice. He came to me and said that he wanted me to make this candle, and I'm like, okay, I'd never worked with him before. I'd never had any kind of thing with him before. And he came to me and said, make me this candle. I'm like, okay. And then, like 6 months after, not even that, like 3 months after I made the candle, that whole Standing Rock thing happened. And I'm like, oh, now I see why you made me, why you wanted me to make this candle, so that it was ready to go. And same thing with like the whole Trump election and all the racism and all the things that have been really like gasoline has been put on that fire. I mean, that stuff always existed, but now it's like with the Trump election, all of that stuff is just like a dumpster fire now. So seeing, that's why he wanted me to make this candle. And so that's a beautiful, beautiful working to do. You could, of course, get a picture of him in the blog post that I have. I have a painting of him. You could download that, print it out, work with that on your altar, light a candle, get some tobacco and sprinkle some tobacco on that, get some Indian spirit guide oil, work with that. Those are all beautiful ways of working, but really, really, he's one that is so helpful. I'm a spiritualist. I like to call in guides to assist us in doing things. So that's just my way of doing it. But, you could do a brown candle with court case oil for getting this resolved legally. You could do, a banishing oil for banishing all the ICE, there's a law keep away is another great oil that is good for like protecting against like ICE and all of those like, police and all of those things that are so oppressive. And so, law keep away oil is great. You could, put the families that are suffering in that protection, or the people that are, coming over, the immigrants that are coming over, put protection around them through working with that. So just another way to work. So hopefully that is a good one. All right. So we've got Dimitri Black here. Hi. Hades Demir. Hi. Virginia Creed. Hello. So what are some great spells, teas, or oils for learning or understanding a foreign language, and would it matter what language? Okay, so this is a question about, well, teas would be especially good, I think. Any kind of potion would be particularly good, which brings to mind the fact that I have a new podcast up. It's not up on YouTube yet. So if you've been listening to the podcasts on YouTube, I'm trying to get them up to date. But podcast number 17 is out. It's up on iTunes. It's also up on my website. If you go to magicandthelawofattraction.com, it'll take you over to my website. You can listen there. You can listen on iTunes. If you subscribe on iTunes, you can leave a review of it. And every episode I pick a review and I give whoever's like the review of the week, I give that person a $50 gift certificate. So just a little plug for that. If you go over to iTunes and subscribe and leave a review. So something to think about free $50. I wouldn't turn it down. And sometimes we only have a few people that leave a review. So it's like you have good chances of getting getting a prize. It's like something I give away all the time. So anyway, episode 17 is about working with food and potions, making potions and making magical food. And so I would recommend listening to that. In particular, what would be good for learning a language? Well, it probably wouldn't taste great, but it would be, maybe you'd want to use it as a wash rather than a drink. But or you could put it in food. Sage is really good for mental acuity, for having being mentally alert and learning and gaining knowledge. So in terms of making something to eat or take into your body, working with sage would be really, really good. In terms of an oil that would be great would be King Solomon Wisdom Oil, because that helps with mental recall. Here's something I suggest to all my students that are out there and listening and watching. When you're studying, use some King Solomon Wisdom Oil, right? Put it on yourself. You'll get the aroma of that oil. It smells very nice. You'll associate that with the studying that you're doing. Now, every time you study, you put on that oil. Now, when it comes to test taking time, put a little bit of that oil on. The smell will connect you back mentally to the time that you were studying, and you'll have better recall. And this is something that they have shown scientifically, that smell is our strongest sense memory. And so when we access the scent of smell, we open up a bigger part of our brain in terms of memory. So it's something to think about, and something that's a magical working, and there's a biological component to it too that's very helpful. So working with King Solomon Wisdom Oil, cooking with a little bit of sage would be a good idea. You might want to make a sage tea, although maybe mixing sage and mint would be good, because the sage itself probably wouldn't taste super great as a tea. So there you go. Let's see. All right. What do we have going on Instagram? Hi, Jackie. I see Jackie and Witch of Wands and Melicia Creations. Charmed 113. Can wasps' nests be used in the same ways as dirt daubers? Do you know that not 10 feet from here, I have a little old wasp nest that I've been hanging on to. It's on the electrical, what is it? The circuit breaker box for the house. And, I like holding on to it preciously to I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So we use wasps' nests and dirt daubers' nests to create confusion, conflict. They're kind of troublemaking things that we would use. I mean, you suppose you could also use it for a really fiery wall of protection, like you really putting up some kind of, depending on what you blend it with. But it's definitely an aggressive sort of working when you're working with dirt dauber or wasp's nest. I think those two can really go together, because they're there's something that is you wouldn't want a swarm of wasps heading for you. And so you think of that wasp nest energy as aggressive energy. So when you work with a wasp's nest, you would grind up that wasp's nest and get a powder, and you can use that powder like you'd use any powder, and you would use it in aggressive work. So if you're doing some kind of war work, or you're doing some kind of aggressive protection work or something like that, then you can use it, and you would just grind it up. That would be the way to do it. You can sprinkle it, you can add it to an oil, you can, grind it up with some herbs and make an incense out of it. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could do. So yeah, just think about, everything. This brings up a bigger question, which is that everything in the natural world is magical. It's not just the things that you read about in a book, right? Because somebody figured out that thing was good for this spell, right? That they tried it, they observed it, they connected with the plant, they listened to the plant or the stone or the root or the whatever, right? And they got that information. So what I would recommend to you is, if you come across something like a wasp's nest, and you want to use it magically, you're being called to use it magically, sit down with that nest and get the energy off of it and listen to it. What does it tell you that it can be used for magically? What does it express to you? What does it, if you listen to these things, they'll tell you. It's like every plant in the world is magical, even if you don't see it in a book. So if you don't see it in a book, then sit down with it and learn from it and work with it and test it out and try it. So take the wasp's nest, grind up that powder and use it in some kind of aggressive work and see what happens and see if you get, your outcome that you were hoping for. So, but I just connect with wasp nest and I'm like, oh, it's a very aggressive energy, so there you go. All right. So Rena Misty asks a question over on YouTube. Will High John the Conqueror root be good for help with a court case? So, John the Conqueror is not traditionally a court case herb. Little John to chew. Little John is usually the court case root. That's the one we use in court cases traditionally. High John the Conqueror, however, in a sort of secondary way, can be very helpful with court cases. Let's talk about what High John the Conqueror does and how it works and so on. So High John the Conqueror is a root that is used by men and women for good luck with things. We got lots of lucky things, lots of lucky herbs, lots of lucky roots. But John the Conqueror has a certain quality that I think it's very helpful for you to understand that name, John the Conqueror. John the Conqueror comes from a legend. And it's a legendary figure like Paul Bunyan, like Pecos Bill. We have American legends about these, John Henry, these bigger than life people who did amazing things that no human could do, beyond human, right? They're like almost like the version of gods for Americans, right? Like, like these stories of like, Zeus and Hera and all those things. We have these bigger than life gods and goddesses. The same thing we have with these tall tales of these larger than life legendary figures. Well, John the Conqueror was a legendary figure and comes from African American legend and lore. John the Conqueror was a slave who outsmarted his masters and escaped. And so in a time when slavery was the reality for many African Americans, not all, but many, many, many African Americans in the history of our country, great majority of our history of our country, to have a legend of somebody who got away, who escaped this horrible, horrible oppression and outsmarted, was smarter than the masters and escaped that oppressive, horrific, horrible, horrible, horrible life circumstance. This was a beacon, this is something that was really a beautiful story and gave hope when in a horrible, hopeless situation. So John the Conqueror root, we use John the Conqueror root to outsmart others, to get one up on someone else, to have luck, to be like, get out of a situation, like slip out of something. So in court case work, John the Conqueror is great because of that quality. John the Conqueror isn't directly a court case root. It's not directly court case. That's Little John to chew, or sometimes called Beth root. But John the Conqueror is the one that is about you getting one up on someone. And if in this situation you want to have that edge that you get your good outcome in a court case, then John the Conqueror is great. But I would also put with it some of the other court case roots and other herbs that are good for court case. So for example, dill is good for court case work. The Southern John or Little John is good. Gravel root is also good. So those are the things that I would recommend and work with those. Okay. So work with your court case roots, but add High John the Conqueror to it. All right. So let's look over at Dyslexic Mama. Hi. Malaysia Creations. Okay. Malaysia has a good question. Why do I always see the number 911? So when we're seeing certain numbers coming in front of us, they're messages from our guides. if you go over to my website and you go to parlorofwonders.com, you go over to instruction and you go to the blog, you will see a blog post, and you have to go down, 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 keep going back, back, back. And eventually you'll see a blog post that I made about what does it mean when I see 1111, which is about seeing repeating numbers. So numbers, whether they're repeating numbers or message numbers of some kind, are messages from our guides, right? They're either a reminder from your guide that whatever you're thinking about at that moment or whatever you're worried about, it's going to be okay. You know, relax. Your heart's desire is going to come to you, and so on. It's the universe sending you that message. So if I were seeing 911, 911 has a specific connotation. It means emergency, right? So when you are looking at that, you know, without having a session with you to dive into deeply, what does it mean when you see 911? I would say, look, there's something you need to pay attention to. It's like there's an emergency happening in your life that you need to take care of. And you need to pay attention to it. Like we have an emergency, you drop everything and you take care of the emergency. And it feels like if you were getting the message of 911, there's something in your life that you need to start really paying close attention to and you know, like taking some action on, getting in there and helping something. So what is it that's the emergency in your life? I'm not having a session with you, so I don't know, but look and do some reflection and think about what is it that I need to attend to, and start paying attention to that and doing something. That's what I would say. It's an emergency. You got to deal with this thing that you've been ignoring. All right. Stephen Seabrook. Hi. Hi, Stephen. What are the appropriate words for prayers and blessings before doing a reading for clients? Well, you make up something of your own. I'll tell you what I say before I do a reading. When I do a reading, I want to take a beat to connect to the client, to access their Akashic records, to meet with their guides. I mean, that all goes along with that connection, to send them love and so on. And I also simultaneously want to connect to divine wisdom and divine energy. And then I want to create a reading that's helpful for the client, that is clear, has clear information, and is something that helps them to move forward in their life. So the blessing that I say before I do a reading is, I can't do it if I'm not doing a reading. That's so funny. Okay. The blessing I say is that, I say, like, I connect to you, the person, the client, and that connection, when I say I connect to you, I connect to that person and their Akashic records and their guides. But I don't go into all that when I say the blessing. I just say I connect to you with love, send you love. That's what I do. Okay, now I'm remembering now. So I say to the client, I send you love and light, send you love and light. I open up to divine wisdom, which is that upward connection. And then I set the intention for the reading, that it's for the highest good, with the highest love, and for the highest enlightenment. What that does is create sets the tone for what's happening. Yes, I'm connecting. I mean, there's the connection, the two connections that I have to make, you know, before for me to do a reading that's helpful. So connecting to the client, sending them love and light, and, you know, connecting to their guides and all of that. And then connecting up into divine wisdom. So I can just download that information from my guidance and download that for the client. And then let the reading be for the highest good, with the highest love, and for the highest enlightenment. That's a really important component, because I want to make sure that the client gets the most from that time that we spend together, that they get that it's something good in their life, and that they get enlightenment from it. So because I do that, I get clients. I always set the intention that I get clients that I can help, and I get clients that I can help. And we have great relationships. I love my clients. So I think that's a good one. But I think my place is a good place for a jumping off point for you creating your own. Like, what is it that you know, sort of like a mission statement. What is it that you want to accomplish with your reading? Why are you doing a reading for someone? And set sort of the groundwork and the boundary of what you want that reading to do. So I think, you know, make your own, but you can use mine as a template. You know, I just was inspired and came up with that one. So, Ms. Ladybug's here. Witch of Wands is here. Hi, Mama Bear. Edie True. And, okay. So Jackie, who's Desja. I don't even know how I would say that. I guess it's Desja, right? She asked, what's the best way to start astral traveling? So astral travel is when really everybody does astral travel. Every time you have a dream, you're astral traveling because you're just doing it in the dreamland. You're having a spirit out of your body experience, especially when you connect with other people. So like when you're seeing an old friend in your dreams, or you're spending time with someone, it's the two souls connecting, you're meeting on the astral plane and you're having an experience. But we can do more conscious astral traveling even within our, quote unquote, waking state. And so what you want to do is do visualizations. I would suggest that would be a great place to start. So a visualization that you can have is to see yourself, to go lie down in meditation, to go lie down on your bed, and to see yourself like you're watching a movie, to see yourself like coming up out of your body. Generally, when we astral project in a waking state, we see the cord that's connecting our spirit to our body so that we can come back into our body, like an umbilical cord, but often it's silver cord connecting us. You go up above and you can look down at your body, and that would be a nice practice just to do that initially, like to visualize, to lie on your bed, to go into a meditation, put on some nice music, light some incense, get your room into a state where you feel that. And then before you start astrally projecting, say, I astrally project in all safety. I'm always attached to my body. I will always come back to my body whenever I'm ready to come back. There's no danger in me doing this. You want to set some kind of parameter that you feel safe and that you create a sense of safety that you can always come back, so that you don't panic when you have your soul go out of your physical body, and you're not cutting off your life source either. That's that cord, when you leave your body in death, that cord is no longer there. You just leave, the spirit leaves and is free. You think about this almost like, how you see astronauts like in, well, I don't know if it's a good example, what was that movie that Sandra Bullock was in with the Gravity or whatever it is, that, where they were like detaching from the spaceship, but in a nice scenario where we love to see no danger. We see that astronaut attached with the cord to the space station. It's the same kind of principle, but instead it's this cord of the soul connection back to your body. So I would start by setting an intention. I leave my body in safety. I can astrally project, and so on. And just start by going above yourself. Try and feel yourself go like a couple of feet above your body and look down at your body. And this is happening in your mind's eye. It's a visualization. Or you might have a sensation of leaving your body. Some people are more sensory than visual, so you might have a feeling of like floating up. But it's always helpful if you can visualize and you can see your body down below. So just practice going out and then coming back, like going out and coming back into your body. And once you do that and you can float up above in the room, you can start going further and further out. You can start going out, to other places, remote viewing, doing all kinds of cool things with the astral projection. So, but start little, baby steps. You don't become a marathon runner the first day you run. You start working up to it. And the same thing here. I would start doing the astral projection in a way so that you get used to the sensation and it doesn't feel weird or scary to you. You don't want to project way, way, way out there on your first time. I mean, you could, but I would suggest doing small little jaunts before you do those bigger jaunts and you start having that. But always set that intention that you can easily come back whenever you're ready to come back, that you're safe, that connection, that cord is strong, that you don't feel any disconnection from your body. All right, so let's see. All right, someone putting some ugly stuff up there. Boy, got some trolls today. All right, let's go back here. Okay. I gotta block some people. Sorry. Sorry, guys. This doesn't usually happen. All right. This is what happens when you're out in the Wild West. You get some wild ones. All right. Let's see. Malaysia has another question over here. Oh, you saw 9/11. Okay, that was last 13 years. Yeah, you need to pay attention to something. All right. Yay, Pink Spooky's here. All right, we're going to get rid of the troll. Goodbye, troll. Dimitri, I practice Yoruban spirituality and partly initiated in Osha, and I practice a lot of hoodoo techniques in my own craft. Great point. Dimitri brings up the point that we were talking about earlier, that there you can be a hoodooist. Hoodoo is a traditionally Christian, was formed in Christianity. It was magic in the Christian, Protestant Christian, African-American tradition, but that doesn't mean people don't branch off on it. Dimitri's a great example. He practices Yoruban spirituality and initiated in Osha, and he practices hoodoo techniques. I'm a spiritualist and I practice hoodoo techniques. There's people that are all faiths that, you know, I know people that are Muslim. I know people that are all kinds of practices and they practice hoodoo techniques. So you just have to understand that you're taking something off of you're riffing on something, you're taking something off. So you're not a traditional hoodooist, but that doesn't mean you can't practice those techniques. All right, Avon Lady. Hi, Avon Lady. Doug Thompson's here. Braga this way. Love my chickadee. Doug Thompson. Keys Love joined. Okay, Doug Thompson's over on Insta. I'm about to prepare a cleansing and protection bath with the following ingredients: sea and Epsom salt, Van oil, Florida water, and protection oil. Is this a right combination? Yes, that sounds like a great combination. The only thing I might do a little tweaking to that, slight tweaking. Your mileage may vary, but I'm just going to throw it out there. All of those ingredients look good. I would take the protection oil out and not add that to the bath. I would do the bath purely as a cleansing bath because that Florida water, the Van oil, the Epsom salt, sea salt are all like cleansing off. Then once you get out of the bath, put the protection oil on you. So let that be something that you would put on afterwards. So like it's like kind of like you wash the slate clean and you write protection on the slate. That would be the only little tweak that I would do, but everything sounds great there. If you want to know how to make your own cleansing bath, I have a video up on my YouTube videos about how to make a cleansing bath, which is kind of what Doug Thompson is talking about: Epsom salt, sea salt, and then a conditioner oil of some kind. Not say you couldn't add protection oil. Try it, you know, see if you like it in the bath, or see if you like it putting it on afterwards. Ember Moon says, evening, Pamita, you mentioned you have a book during the last tea party. I do, and I didn't even bring it out here. It's in the house. I'm not going to leave you guys and go get the book. I have a book called Madame Pamita's Magical Tarot. If you are on Instagram, I have been putting up some videos talking about how to use tarot cards magically, which is something I talk about in that book. And I've been putting up little 2-minute videos on the IGTV. So if you're on Instagram, go over to my bio, click on my name. It'll take you to my bio and you'll see something that says IGTV, and click on those and you'll see some little 2-3 minute videos, snippets that are going to be, helpful for you in using tarot cards magically. And I show you my book and I talk about my book over there. It's a little blurb for my book too. Instagram people, you got it right now on IGTV. YouTube people, I'm going to start putting it up next week because I'm not going to be in town this week. And then the weekend I'm going to be at the Pirate Festival. So after all that shebang happens, then I'm going to start putting it up on YouTube. So you'll see those a week from now, but Instagram people get them right now. So you can get my book if you go to my site, parlorofwonders.com, and you click on author, it'll take you to a page that talks about the book and all the links that you can buy the book. So you could buy it from my site. I do signed copies, no extra charge. If you want that. If you want it cheaper, to be honest, if you want it cheaper, you can go over to Amazon and get it over there. I'm just as happy either way. At Amazon, you might have free shipping and all that stuff. And so that makes sense. Either way, it's great. I'm happy for you to have that information and to have that book and to use that book. I mean, the book is like, I feel like, super proud of the book, and it's something that isn't existing out there. It's telling you how to use the tarot in a holistic way, using it with affirmations, using it with magical work, and understanding what those cards mean. So even if you don't use it for readings, let's say you don't get into the whole idea of reading, or it's not your thing or whatever, You can still use those cards magically, and understanding what those cards are and the symbolism on the cards is really powerful. Those are powerful, powerful talismans and attractors for bringing things into your life. And so even if you never become a reader, understanding the tarot as a magical tool for attracting things is quite a powerful thing. And no one else really talks about that. And I talk about it in my book, and I have suggestions on how you can use it. So you can check that out in my book. So Madame Pamita's Magical Tarot, you can look it up on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, or you can look at it online, going to author, Parlor of Wonders, and then clicking on author. Thank you for bringing that up. Alrighty, so Ms. Otwell joined, and Rifa Fakir joined, and Gypsy Mermaid, and Pitchy 1860. Hi, guys. LCD 0001. Sean, my boyfriend's friend, is on. How funny. Creative Libra. Hi. Indigene Teresa Gaskin. Hi. Awkward Witch. Hi. Pisces Hippie. How can I remove a tenant that's a troublemaker and her drug selling boyfriend? I have her name, but only have his birth name. Only have his birth name. So here's the thing. I always like to say, start gentle. Let's see if we can get them out without creating too much havoc. I think, as much as they're troublemakers and maybe make your life unhappy, and, there's, probably a ruckus going on, if there's abuse of drugs and alcohol, there may be a ruckus going on. But, we don't want them to suffer more. We really don't want to create more suffering in the world. And so what I would suggest working with is banishing products. You can work with banishing powder, sachet powder, sprinkle it around their door. And banishing is to get rid of something, just simply to get rid of it. So to get them out, to get them to move. Now, a lot of people like to go straight to hotfoot, but you have to understand what hotfoot is. So what I'm talking about is two different products: banishing products, oil or sachet powder, or hotfoot sachet or hotfoot oil. Hotfoot and banishing are different. And the difference is that banishing says, get out. Get out. Okay, that's all right. Get out. Hotfoot is get the F out. I want your life destroyed. And it's like kind of like pulling out the nuclear weapons when maybe we need to just like get them out. Let them go and have a great life somewhere else far away from you. Isn't that a nice prayer, that you have a beautiful life somewhere far away from me? It's like benefits them and it benefits you. So banishing, let's start with banishing. I reserve hotfoot for only certain circumstances where, like, I think hotfoot is appropriate. You know what? If you've got somebody that's molesting your child, oh, hell yeah, you can hotfoot them. If you've got somebody that's beating up your sister, oh, hell yeah, you can hotfoot them. If there's physical abuse or sexual abuse or some kind of violence or something like that, where you're endangered, hotfoot is great. So there is a use for hotfoot. But these people are a nuisance. They're annoying. They're awful. You want them away? Great. Do banishing. You don't need to mess up their life anymore. Just get them out and have some beautiful outcome somewhere far away from you. May they find happiness and joy and satisfaction and whatever far away from me. That's the best way to work. In my humble opinion. This is, again, your results may vary. Your mileage may vary. That's how I like to work. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Armando's here. Hi. Benny's here. Is it normal for 420 to make you spiritual? 420 somewhere, right? It's 420. Well, at 20 after, it's 420 somewhere. So does pot make you spiritual? I think that there are mind-altering things that can open you up. And I think every substance is different. Every substance is different. And people have different reactions to different substances. I'll give you an example from my own experience. I do readings at work, obviously, and I'm working when I'm at work, but I also do readings at parties. And sometimes I'll go to a party and the host of the party, I'll be doing readings at the party, and the host will say, do you want a glass of wine? Do you want a drink? And I have to say, no, I like a glass of wine. No problem with a glass of wine. But when I'm doing readings, I've noticed for me that it shuts off my connection. It shuts the crown off for me, that I can't connect up and get grab onto that wisdom. But I know other people who are like, glass of wine opens me up and I'm more freely flowing because I've relaxed or I've released some of that anxiety I have or tension or whatever. So I think that every substance, whether it's food, whether it's a tea, whether it's alcohol, whether it's pot, whether it's something else, is going to have a different effect on you. And so you want to do your own experimentation to find out. No one can say, this is something really, 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 really important that I want to say for you, all of you guys. No one can tell you what is right for you. Only you know what is right for you. You know what is right for you. So someone may say to you, hey man, don't smoke pot. It's bad for you, because maybe their experience is bad, or maybe they believe that's their belief, but that may not be that is not your path. So if for you do some experiments and you open up and your crown opens up and you connect very highly spiritually by smoking pot. And I also think that probably different strains are going to have different effects on you, right? Like different experiences. So you may do a sativa and have one experience, and an indica and have a different experience. So I think there's a worthy experiment in all of that. But if you say for you, is it normal for 420 to make you more spiritual? It is for you. And that's all that matters. So if smoking opens you up, relaxes you, makes you get visions, helps you to connect to your guides, makes you feel more connected, then that's perfect. It's your experiment. That's what I say with all magic. Everything about spirituality, actually. There's no Bible of anything. Even the Bible isn't the Bible for everyone, right? There's no Bible that says this is the one way and all other ways are wrong. It isn't. That is not how spirit works. For some people, this may be an amazing tool. For other people, nothing. For other people, it may cut off their connection. So you do the experiment. Same thing with when I teach you magic. I may teach you a magical working, like, okay, here's the example. I said to Pisces hippie, use the banishing oil, use the banishing powder. And she may be like, I'm going to do hotfoot. That's okay. Do the hotfoot. But I'm teaching you my way. And it's one way of working. And what I expect you guys to do is to take from that what works, and whatever doesn't work, you leave it alone. Great. If my way, you feel intuitively at your gut level that it works, or it feels good to you, then that's a sign. If it doesn't feel good to you, then that's also a sign. Then you don't have to work my way. It's totally fine. When I teach something, I teach it and give it freely because it's what's worked for me. And I like the teachers that taught me. But every teacher, you go, I like that. That one, not so much. That's okay. I can tell you just an example of that from my life. I like to work what I call very cleanly, meaning I don't do very aggressive work. I don't do cursing. I don't do, I do only maybe once a year do I do a breakup working, and only when it's like two people are married and there's somebody that's a girlfriend or a boyfriend out there, and I break up the boyfriend and girlfriend to get the marriage back. Okay. I check in with my guides and I check in with my inner guidance before I introduce anything, or when I learn something new from someone else and I go, how does this feel for me? How does this feel for me? This one feels good. Okay. That makes sense to me. I'm going to add that to my bag of tricks. That one doesn't feel so good to me. I'm not going to, that's good for that person, but it's not good for me. That's all. So everything that I teach you, it's like you can take it or leave it. You can do it or not do it. I encourage you to try it out, try it on, or see how you feel about it. And if it doesn't feel right, then okay. The same thing here with this. So is smoking pot a way to open up? Sure. For some people, it's going to be an amazing thing. For you, it's an amazing thing. So other people, it's not going to be that way. So, no big deal. It's your path. Your path is going to be your own path. I have to say one thing. I once heard this really wonderful, wonderful spiritual teacher, and he said, ideally, the world should have 6 billion religions, because there's 6 billion people in the world, right? 7 billion people in the world. The world should have 7 billion religions. Like everybody's spiritual path should be customized for them. not following the dictates of somebody saying, this is the way to do it. Even with my thing, I never say to anybody, my way is the right way and your way is the wrong way. I teach you what works for me, and then you take it or leave it. So like some people, I was taught you apply oil to a candle in an upward motion because you're bringing something up. I experimented with that. It felt right to me. It felt good to me. So I teach that. But some people are like, no, you're supposed to put it outward away so that you're sending it out into the world to go. I go, okay, that works for you. That's fine. It's another legitimate way of applying oil. I'm not going to say your way is wrong. I'm just teaching the way I like to do it. And you guys can copy me or not copy me, or try it out or see how it fits and see how it feels. That's all I can do, My way's good for me, and hopefully you get something from it and you learn something from it that's good for you too. All right. Let's see. Creative Libra says, hello. Creative Libra. I wish, you know what? Everyone should go over to the Creative Libra. I'm going to follow back Friday on a Sunday with you. Go over to the Creative Libra and go to his Instagram, because he always puts great little musical bits up there. He's a musician and he does some really wonderful, love-filled spiritual music that I just love so much. And you always see him at his keyboard and it's cute. So go over and follow him. He needs some more followers putting likes on his music. I love it. I always do whenever I see it. White Hellebore and Jen and Travis Talks to the Dead. Hi, guys. Cody Carr is here. Cody Carr, hi. Princess of Hollywood, hi. Oh, my gosh. I hope she's still listening. That's Pleasant Gaiman. She's like a legend of burlesque. She has a great show called Bell, Book, and Candle once a month. It's a witchy, magical burlesque show. It's amazing. It's in Los Angeles. So if you're in LA, you want to definitely check that out. Socially Awkward Succubus. Hi. Cody Carr said, I can't wait to get my book in the mail. Cody just ordered the book. David Hennebush says, hi. Steph Dorr. Okay. Socially Awkward Succubus. Can you explain glamour spells? What are they and what are they used for? Okay. So we got just a couple more minutes. So glamour, the idea of glamour was actually an original, I believe, okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I believe that glamour is something that comes from Scottish or British Isles magic. I'll be more vague with it. It's definitely British Isles. Glamour, the idea of glamour is that you create something that's a mirage, right? So like a glamour in the old understanding of it is like, I created, oh my gosh, you see this beautiful castle. Well, a sorcerer or a witch or somebody skilled magician created this illusion of this castle, and you're seeing it with your own eyes, but it's an illusion. That's what a glamour is. That's the original meaning of that word. That's the kind of magic that it is. Now, when we are talking about this in modern day spell work, we bring in the idea of what modern glamour is. So now we talk about someone's very glamorous. They've got a lot of glamour. It's understanding that they've created an illusion of attraction, right? So the glamorous movie stars of the 1940s, oh, they were so magnetic and you just wanted them and you desired them, right? So we look at glamour. It isn't a female thing. It is a male and female thing. That's one of the things. Glamour is attraction work. In a nutshell, you're bringing something toward you. You're bringing something to you. So you're creating an illusion that brings something toward you. So in glamour work, a beautiful oil that's a glamour type oil is Look Me Over oil, because Look Me Over oil makes people go, oh, they notice you. It's creating this illusion that you are something special. You want to know the ultimate glamour? The Kardashians, what have they done? I'm going to be mean. What have they done? It's glamour. It's an illusion, right? They haven't even done anything. And here's this like la 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 about them, and everyone's paying attention to everything they do. So I'm not going to bag on them too much, but that's glamour. So if you want to create that magnetism, if you want to create that pull that you have something going on, even when you don't have something going on, then that's glamour work. And just a simple oil, Look Me Over oil, is going to have that energy, whether it's you're attracting followers or fans or lovers or jobs or whatever it is that you're wanting to bring in. All right. I only have 1 minute left. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining me. I always look forward to our Sundays so much. Like, you don't even know how much I look forward to Sunday. I'm like, it's the end of my work day. It's the time that I get to spend with you. We get to talk about interesting things. You guys always come up with amazing, intelligent questions. I love what you guys have to say, the questions you have. I love the way you interact with one another. It's amazing. I just love it. So we'll keep this going. Next Sunday, I may be in a pirate costume. I'll at least wear my pirate hat, no matter what. If I'm not on YouTube, I'll be on Instagram only because that's all I have. But for sure, I'll be on Instagram. And I'll try and save it. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but maybe I'll have both. Maybe it'll all work out in some way, right? That's what I always have confidence that it will. Thanks, you guys. I love you so much. You are so special to me. I love seeing your names come up every week. And I just hope and look forward to seeing you next Sunday when I will be a pirate. I will talk like a pirate. All right, you guys on YouTube, the Instagram people went away. Thank you so much again. Sorry I didn't get to all the questions, but come back next Sunday, get your question in early and we'll get to those. And thank you again for joining me, and hopefully I will be here in my pirate costume for you guys too. All right, take care, and I'll see you next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Bye.